Okay, today's March 31st, and today's notes will be covering composite volume. So we've talked about finding the volume of shapes, and all composite volume is we're going to be combining two shapes together. And we're going to have two types of composite volume. But for starters, the formulas again on our formula chart are going to be right here under volume, and then you will need this other section on area if you're trying to find the area of our base, because remember that big B stands for area of our base. But the first shape or the first type of composite volume we have is type 1, which are holes. And holes are when multiple 3D shapes are given and have a hole or section missing, you will subtract the volumes. So I'll find the volume of both this cube and the cone. And then since this piece is missing, I'm going to take that piece out and I'm going to subtract it from the cube. So an example of this, we're going to look at example 1. It says marble slab has a cone holder on their counter to set a filled waffle cone while the customer is paying. The holder is a solid wooden square prism with a hole shaped like a cone. What is the volume of the wood that was used to make the cone holder? So I want to find all the space that forms the wooden prism. Since there is a hole in here, there's no wood here. So my first step is going to be to find the volume of the rectangular or of the square prism and then find the volume of the cone. So for starters, I need to find the formula for the volume of a prism. So here, the volume of a prism, I'm going to go back to my formula chart. It tells me that it is volume equals the area of my base times the height. Remember that capital B stands for area of the base. So for example 1, I'm going to put rectangular prism. And this is volume equals the area of my base times the height. Now here, my base shape is a square. So I can find the area of this square by doing length times width. So this will become length times width times height. Now this formula, length times width times height, that is something that you've known to do. So finding the volume of a rectangular prism is probably one of the easiest things for us to do. So length and width are associated with my base shape. So that is going to be 7 times 7. Now the height of my prism, again, is the distance between my base shapes. So the distance between them is going to be 9. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my calculator. Okay, and I'm going to open up my calculator. I'm going to press the on button, and I'm going to open up the calculator app. And I'm just going to type in 7 times 9. And here it tells me that the volume of the rectangular prism is 441. So this is 441 centimeters cubed. Now my next step is to find the volume of that cone. Now the formula for volume of a cone, if I go over to my formula chart, it's going to be volume equals 1 over 3 times the area of my base times my height. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that formula down. So this is for the cone, and it's V equals 1 over 3 times the area of my base times the height. Now, on this cone, my base shape is a circle, so I need to go back to my formula chart and find the formula for area of a circle. The formula for area of a circle is pi times r squared. So I'm going to put this off to the side. So I have pi times r squared. So on this circle, I need to find my radius. It tells me here that my diameter is 6. So if my diameter is 6, I need to cut that in half to find my radius, and my radius is now 3. So this is going to be pi times 3 squared. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my calculator. So I'm going to have pi times 3 squared. And here I get 28.3. So the area of my base shape is 28.3. This is now going to get plugged in here for B. So this becomes 1 over 3 times 28.3 times the height of my cone, which was 7. So now, again, I'm going to open up my calculator. My first step is to put this fraction. I'm going to do that by pressing Control Divide. I have 1 on top, 3 on the bottom. I'm multiplying this by 28.3 times 7, and I get 66.03. So the volume of my cone is 66.03 0.03. I'm just going to leave it at 66. So now, again, I'm only trying to find the volume of the wood. There is no wood where this cone is. Again, this was a type of hole, so I'm going to take 4. Let me change my color. So I'm going to take 441 and I'm going to subtract 66. And I get 375. So here my answer is going to be 375 centimeters cubed. And to get the cubed, I'm going to hold down Alt 0179 and release. So that was finding that was the answer for this first example. So now we have example 2. I'm going to go ahead and clear this all out so we can have a fresh screen. If you need to pause to write all this down, go ahead and do so right now. And let's look at example 2. So example 2 says, a cylindrical candle was shipped in a square prism box with packing peanuts filling the space around the candle inside the box. What is the volume of the packing peanuts? So here I have my box. This candle takes up this amount of space. So my goal is to find out how much space is available without the candle, which would be able to have those packing peanuts in it. I want to see how much I can fit in there. So my first step again is to find the volume of the rectangular prism. So the rectangular prism, again, I can find the volume of a rectangular prism by doing length times width times height. Here it tells me that I have 6 inches by 6 inches, and then I have a foot. So before I can continue, I need to convert this to inches, because if you notice, the rest of my units aren't inches. I know that 1 foot is 12 inches, so here my height is 12 inches. So the length and width, again, are associated with my base shape, so this is going to be 6 times the height, which is 12. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my calculator. 6 times 6 times 12 is 432. So the volume is 432 inches cubed. Next, I have the cylinder. So the formula for volume of a cylinder is volume equals the area of my base times the height. Now my base shape on a cylinder is a circle. So this is now volume equals pi times r squared times the height. So again, my first step is to find the area of my base shape. So I need to find the radius off of this circle. This line goes all the way across, so that to me indicates that it is my diameter. So to find my radius, I'm simply just going to divide by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this is pi times 2 squared times the height of my candle, which was 9 inches. So first, I'm going to go ahead and put pi times 2 squared. So that's 12.5, or I'm going to round 12.56, which will round to 12.6. So this is going to be 12. So now I'm just going to multiply that by 9. So this is 12.6 times 9, and I get 113.4. So if the volume of my cylinder is 113.4, and I'm just trying to find the volume that the packing peanuts would be able to hold, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 432 and 113.4. So 432 minus 113.4. I'm going to go ahead and open up my calculator. I take 432 minus 113.4. I now have the volume as 318.6 inches cubed. I'm going to go ahead and write that right here. And again, to get to the power of 3, you're going to hold down the Alt key and you're going to type in 0179. And then that is the volume that the packing peanuts would be able to, that would be the volume of the packing peanuts. Okay, so that was our first type, which was holes. Our next type is combos. Now, a combo is when multiple 3D shapes are given and you have to combine or they are combined or stacked. Whenever they do this, to find the overall volume, we're going to add them together. So here I would find the volume of this cylinder, and then I would also find the volume of the cone. And then I would add them together. Think of a combo like you're going to Whataburger. You can just get the sandwich or the burger. But if you get the combo, then you also have extra things being added onto your meal. So let's look at example 3. It says, what is the total volume of the container shown below? So here I see I have a rectangular prism and I also have a square pyramid. So my first step is to find the volume of my prism. So I'm going to have my rectangular prism. And the formula for a rectangular prism is volume equals the area of my base, which is capital B, times little h, which is the height of my prism. Now, for the area of my base shape here looks like it is a square. So the area of a square, it's the same way that I would find the area of a rectangle, so length times width, or you can do base times height. I typically suggest for you to do length times width just because I don't want you to do base times height and confuse it with the height of your prism and you end up putting 5 twice. So the length and width, remember this would be my base here. So my length is 4 times the width is 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. So my volume is 16 times the height of my prism, which is 5. So in my calculator, 16 times 5 tells me that my volume is 80. And then now I just need to find the volume of my square pyramid. So for my pyramid, I have volume equals 1/3 times the area of my base times the height. So I have 1/3 times the area of my base. So if this side is 4, this side is also 4. And if my width here is 4, this is also going to be 4. They line up exactly, so I'm just going to move those numbers up as well. So here we have already found the area of my base shape because they are the same base. So this is also 16 times the height of my pyramid, which is 6. So in my calculator, my first step is to do control divide. I have 1 on top, 3 on the bottom. I am multiplying that by the area of my base, which is 16 times 6. And I get 32. So here, my pyramid is 32 inches cubed. Now, since this is a combo, I want to add both of them together. So I'm going to take 80 plus 32, and when I do that, I get 112. So here, what the volume of the container would be 112 inches cubed. Okay, next we have example 4. So example 4 says, what is the total volume of the ice cream in the cone below? So on this ice cream cone, I want to find what's inside the cone, and then I also want to find the volume of the scoop that's on top. I'm gonna go ahead and erase that so I have something clear to work with. So here I have a cone and then I have a hemisphere. So I'm gonna go ahead and find the volume of the cone first. The formula for volume of a cone, if you were to go to your formula chart, is volume equals 1/3 times the area of my base times the height. So this is V equals 1/3 times the area of my base times the height. Now, on this cone, my base shape is a circle. So my base equals area equals the formula for area of a circle is pi r squared. So I need to find the radius. This line goes all the way across, so that tells me it is the diameter. So I have to divide that by 2 to get the radius, and this is now 150 as my radius. So this is pi times 150 squared. I'm going to go ahead and type that in my calculator. I'm going to put pi times 150 squared, and I get 70,685.8. It's going to be a very large number. So 70,685.8 0.8, and this is millimeters cubed. So this is just the area of my base. I still need to put this into the formula. I'm sorry, this is going to be squared because it's area. I still need to find the volume of the cone. So this is 1/3 times 70,685.8 times the height of the cone, which is 200. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. So I'm going to do control divide. One on top, they're on the bottom. I am multiplying this by the area of my base times 200, which is the height. And here I get really quickly, if you notice here I have e to the 6th, that is because my calculator is not in the correct setting. So I'm going to go ahead and press the on button. I'm going to press 5 for settings and 2 for document settings. It says here display digits and it says float 6. Change this to float 12. And then, okay. So I'm going to go back to over here and I'm going to just retype that in. And here's my full number. I get 4,712,386.7. So that is the volume of my cone. It's a very, very large number. So again, that was 4,712,386.7. And this is millimeters cubed. So then I just have to find the volume of my hemisphere. So remember, to find the volume of a hemisphere, it's the same way for finding the volume of a sphere. I'm just going to divide by 2. So the formula for volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times r cubed. Now, if you're lost on where I got that formula from, when I go down to volume, it tells me the formula for volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. And that's where I got that. Okay, so here in this formula, the only thing I need is the radius. So we've already established that my radius is 150. So this is going to be 4/3 times pi times 150 cubed. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and I'm going to plug that in. So control divide, 4 on top, 3 on the bottom. I am multiplying this by pi and I'm multiplying that by 150 cubed. And to get to the power of 3, if you see the x squared, it's going to be the caret top right next to it, and I'm going to put to the power of 3. And this is going to be the volume of my sphere. Now, I still need to divide this by 2. When I divide by 2, I get this number. This is going to be 7,068,583.5. So let me go ahead and write that down very quickly. I ran out of room over here, so I just wrote this to the side. So now my last step is to just simply add both of the volumes of the cone and the hemisphere together. So in my calculator, I am going to add 7,068,583.5 plus this number over here, which is 4,712,386.7. And this is the answer I get. This is now 11,780,970.2. So over here, so I'm going to type this in here. And again, this is 11,780,970.2. And this is going to be millimeters cubed, so alt 0179. Okay. Okay, and then lastly, this question is just for enriched and GT. If you are not, if you're regular, then you can stop watching here, or you can continue watching for just, and you can go ahead and start on your assignment. But again, if you're enriched or GT, continue watching. So this is a combination of 3 different shapes. So the first shape I see, I have a cube, I also have a rectangular prism, and then I have a triangular prism. So my first thing I think is going to be easiest to find is going to be my my cube. I know that a cube has 3 equal sides. So for this cube, um, so for the cube, it's going to be the same as a rectangular prism, which would be length times width times height. Or you can just take one side and to the power of 3. So length times width times height. It's either or. So here on this cube, all sides are 7. So this would either be 7 cubed, or I also know that 7 cubed is also the same thing as length times width times height, which would be 7 times 7 times 7. So in my calculator, I'll show you that it's the same. So 7 to the power of 3. So that's 7 multiplying 7 times 7. So 7 multiplied by itself 3 times is 343. And then if I do it the other way where it's length times width times height, so I have 7 times 7 times 7, I get 343. Again, it's the same thing. So for this cube, it's 343. So over here, I'm going to write total, and I have 343. Now I have my prism. So for my prism, again, it's length times width times height. So if I have length times width times height of this prism, all I have to do is multiply all 3 sides of this rectangular prism. So I have 7 times 21 times 7. So 21 and 7 are my length and width. So 21 times 7. Now the height of my prism is the distance between my base shapes, so times 7. So now 21 times 7 is 1,029. So 1,029. And then I just have my triangular prism. So for my triangular prism, again, the formula is volume equals the area of my base times my height. This is what the prism is as well, but I just tend to just go ahead and simplify to length times width for the area of my base. Now, on this triangle, my base shape is a triangle. So whenever I find the area of B, it's going to be 1/2 times B times H, because this is the formula for area of a triangle. So first, I'm missing some dimensions here. I know that the height of this will be 7. That's the distance between my base shapes. But it tells me that overall the distance here is 21. I'm just concerned with this piece right here. Well, the length of this is 7. So 21 minus 7 is 14. So this side is also 14. And then if this length is 7, then this height is also 7. So I have 1/2 times base times height. To find the area of my triangle, my base is 14 times the height of my triangle is 7. So opening up my calculator, I'm going to do control divide. I have 1 on top, 2 on the bottom. I am multiplying that by 14 and by 7. And there I get 49. So the area of my base is 49. And I just want to multiply that by the height of my prism, which is 7. So 49 times 7 is 343. So now for the totals, I'm going to add these together. So in my calculator, 343 plus 1,029 plus 343 is 1,715 inches cubed. So that is my final answer. So here, 1,715 inches cubed. Okay, so that was composite volume. Again, we have 2 different types. We either have a combo, and on a combo, we're going to add the volume of our shapes together. And if you have the other type, which are holes, which is where a piece is missing or taken away from a section, that means we have to subtract the volumes. Go ahead and complete your assignment. If you have any further questions, please go ahead and contact us.